Price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
I'm muted. No, I'm not muted. Black first, my brothers and my sisters. Welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I'm your host, Afro Elite. We have much to discuss this evening because we have revisionist history. We have Mexican Americans. We have the Latinos are back again trying to revise history, saying that they marched allegedly with Dr. King. These people are saying that the Mexican Americans and the Black Americans fought side by side during the civil rights movement. Okay. Even worse, you have some alleging that they were even slaves as well too. Oh no, I'm not making this up. I'm not joking. I'm not exaggerating. This is what they're saying. Now, we all know mass deportation is a big thing going on right now, and we all know that they need foundational Black American assistance to get ICE up off their bumper. We understand this. We know this, okay? This is something that we all know. But foundational Black Americans, we kind of just, chilling. We not really doing too much with it. We kind of like, hey, that's y'all problem. Y'all can deal with y'all problem. I mean, this isn't out of hate or malice or anything crazy like that. But that's it's not our problem. This is not our problem. It's not our fight. But they're sitting up there trying to get us back onto the Black and Brown coalition thing that we used to be on back in the past. But now we've realized, and they're still on it. Let me show you this clip. This clip, I posted this. It's kind of going viral. I posted it. Other people have posted it. Tariq, shout out to Tariq. He's talked about it. A lot of people have talked about this. Let me show you guys this. But before we do that, you guys know what we got to do. Y'all got to make sure that y'all hit that like button. That's what y'all got to make sure y'all do. And I got to make sure that I play this copyright disclaimer. So everything we play is under the guise of fair use. So here we go. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, so this lady right here, I'm just gonna let it play. It's not that long. I'm gonna let her say what she has to say.
The Latino and Black communities have always been like this, and we should continue staying like that. There's no reason why the two communities should be fighting, okay? We have fought next to each other, side by side, since the civil rights movement, okay? There's no time for beef on either side. We need to stand together, especially with everything that's going on right now in this country. So just a reminder that the Latino community and the Black community are like this always.
Okay. To keep this in mind, if you guys didn't see, she wrote in the caption, it's somewhere down here. It's in purple. It's very difficult for you guys to see it. So I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see it. I don't know if you guys can or not, but it says even before the civil rights movement. So she was saying that there was Black and Brown solidarity, Black and Brown unity prior to the civil rights movement. And also what she says with everything going on right now. Notice she said, well, yeah, with especially with everything going on right now, that means deportations. That's 100% what that means. What else is going on right now? Notice how every time they need help, every time they need assistance, normally when it's like some type of mass deportation or some type of cut to illegal immigration or anything of the sort of them immigrating and becoming American citizens and all of that, notice that all of a sudden we have these imaginary fictional stories of Black and Brown unity. Let them tell it. They were side by side with Dr. King on Edmund Pettus Bridge, and they was getting beat up, and they had their kids getting sprayed with water hoses and bit by dogs. Let them tell it. That's what happened. That's what happened if you let them tell it. If you let them revise history, this is what they're going to say. So that made me kind of look into other clips and stuff like that. I want to say, now she said before, and I'm going to show you some of the other clips she said, but she said before the civil rights movement, did you guys know, and I made this statement very clear, did you guys know that they were fighting to become white? And we're going to get into that. But let's actually go before, because she said before the civil rights movement. So let's think, what was a big major event prior to the civil rights movement? That was the Civil War. You know what happened during the Civil War? Let's go through the history of what happened during the Civil War. Do you know that there was Hispanics who were fighting with the Confederacy for slavery? There was a lot of Hispanic men who were pro-slavery, okay? Thousands of them who were pro-slavery, fighting against our ancestors during the Civil War. So if we're, and which is why they don't really like to bring up the Civil War that often, because it really does debunk all of the black and brown narratives that they try to push, because you can't really push a black and brown narrative if you say, well, yeah, my ancestors were fighting to enslave your ancestors. That's just really not a good look for this black and brown unity lie in fiction that they try to push. So they don't really like to bring that up that often. Even when John Leguizamo, he brought up, yeah, we fought during the wars, we fought on both sides. Not really. Because there are people, and I want you guys to understand this, that there are people who are going to make the argument, well, yeah, but there were Mexicans on both sides. There were Hispanics on both sides. There were Hispanics on the Confederacy, and then there were Hispanics on the Union. So you can't just focus on the ones on the Confederacy. You got to focus on the ones on the Union, too. You got to mention that. No. Because there were more Hispanics fighting on the Confederacy, fighting for the Confederacy, than there were fighting for the Union. Men and women, okay? Let's keep this in mind. Men and women fighting on the Confederacy. They were fighting soldiers. Women were working as spies, spying on the Union for the Confederacy. So we have to know our history with this. While she's talking about there was some type of black and brown unity prior to the civil rights movement. So then when we get into the civil rights movement, we see things like LULAC, and we have which is what I said, that they were actually fighting so they can be considered white. And I get this one article right here, and it kind of gives them a little bit of a pass. They try to give them a little bit of a pass, but it kind of does explain the time frame of them being classified as white. So we're going to get into this, because we're not going to allow people to lie about history and include themselves in our ancestors' history. We're just not going to allow that. We're just not going to allow it, okay? I don't know why it keeps doing that for some reason nowadays. I don't know why it keeps doing that. We're not going to allow this. So this comes from NPR, and we're going to go into, let me make it so I can see it. So this is on the census, who checks Hispanic, who checks white, and why. So we're going to go down here, okay, where it kind of really does get started. All right. It says in 1930. All right. Now I want you guys to keep this in mind. This is after the civil rights movement. This is right after the civil rights movement. Mexican, quote, Mexican was put on the census questionnaire as a race. It was during the Depression, and it was a time period when the government was rounding up people. They used the census in the 1940s to locate Japanese Americans for internment camps. Okay. It says, so people didn't want to be identifiable on the census because they were afraid of the government. Okay. I want y'all to keep this in mind. This is something, and let me pause this for a second. Why is it, why does it do that? Okay. Yeah, that's because of that thing. I'm gonna have to get rid of that. That's a cop-out. That's a cop-out. Okay, they're trying to rationalize why they wanted to be considered white. They wanted to be considered white because they identify as Spaniards, and Spain is in Europe. So they identify more with Spain than they do with their like native indigenous Mexican history and all of that stuff. Okay, they play this little 3-card Monte game where they're Spaniards primarily. That's what they put in their forefront. That's the language they speak. That's the culture they identify with. They identify mainly with Spain, which is in Europe. That's what they do. And then when you talk about they're white, no, they do go all the way back to their Mexican history. No, we got Mexican, or we are indigenous. Then they play this little indigenous game, and then they play, well, there's also some black in us too. So they try to mix things up and to their convenience. They get to pick and choose based off of what is convenient during that particular time, what they are. All right. So let's not play obtuse. Let's not play these games, and let's not act like we don't know or we are unaware of what they're doing. We know what they're doing. We're fully aware what they're doing. All right. So what they're trying to say is, well, we didn't want to get rounded up like the Japanese. That's a completely different situation. And NPR knows that. They wanted to identify as white because they believe they are white. They didn't want to identify as white because of some fear of being persecuted or anything like that. So we're not going to let NPR. I want y'all to know NPR is trying to rationalize the racism that comes from the Hispanics. All right, just keep that in mind. Take this with a grain of salt. All right. Going down. Now, I want y'all to keep this in mind as I'm saying this. If they go to Spain, Spaniards are not going to consider these Mexican Spaniards. All right. Only to them are they Spaniards. All right. So they're not really Spaniards according to them. Okay. All right. So scrolling down, it says right here today, and I want you guys to keep this in mind, LULAC. I want y'all to remember that LULAC. Today, everyone wants to be counted. Now, everyone wants representation. But at that time period, people did not want that. Okay. And they also did not want to be racialized. This was a time where the best avenue for people to fit in was to claim whiteness. In 1999, the League of the United Latin American Citizens, LULAC, a Mexican-American organization formed in Corpus, let me look in, Christi, Texas. One of the main organization efforts was to get, quote, Mexican off the 1930 census. They protested they were white, we are American. So LULAC was protesting that they were white, and this is in the 1930s, all right? This is a couple decades before the civil rights movement. It says the Mexican government itself, not just an organization. And the reason why I want to highlight this, let me just get this off the screen for a second. The reason why this is important to highlight is because they're going to be like, well, no, that it was only a few of them who are like that. Most of them weren't like that. That's just, because when we make the argument that this is what they do, and this is at least a large consensus of their belief, what they'll say is, oh no, you're cherry picking. That's not most of us at all. Most of us are black and brown. We're like this. We're like two peas in a pod. You can't just cherry pick a few of them. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we do have some. They'll say that we'll have some. Yeah, I know some of our uncles, and they don't really like black people, but we don't really associate with them at all. No, we can't let them get away with that lie. This is why I wanted to read this to you guys. It says the Mexican government itself. This is not no little small one-off organization. This is not a small niche group of people who are afraid. The Mexican government, that means pretty much the entire population of Mexico was on this type of energy. So it continues to say the Mexican government itself protested the category because the entire Southwest used to be a part of Mexico, and when it was taken over by the United States, I mean, they sold it, but okay. They protested Mexico. They promised Mexico that the Mexican residents there would be treated as full citizens. Well, at that time, you had to be white to be a citizen. At the time of 1930, you had to be white to be a citizen. No, that's not true. That's not true. No, you didn't have to be white to be considered a citizen. because the 14th Amendment was already out by then. The 14th Amendment came out in 1868. So this is, like I said before, this is NPR trying to throw them a little bone. This is NPR trying to give them an out or try to rationalize why they all try to be considered white. This is what NPR is doing. Be all like, well, in order to be considered a citizen, you have to be considered white. No. Okay, we ain't gonna play that game. We're gonna read a little bit more. All right, it says where you had to be considered white. So that's their whole issue. So that's where the whole issue came about Mexicans specifically identifying as legally white but socially non-white. They don't identify as socially non-white. They don't. They view themselves as a different ethnic group in a white racial category. That's what they do. So let's not lie. It says it worked against them in some ways because they claim segregation and discrimination. The parties became accused of discrimination could say, well, no, you're white. So this history of claiming whiteness has been a strategy that Mexican Americans and other Latino groups have used to try to lobby for acceptance, claiming whiteness, claiming Americanness, claiming whiteness. And here's the thing. Us as foundational Black Americans, we've never had to do this. We've never had to claim whiteness. You've never seen any, I'm talking about from the NAACP to any other Black organization ever be all like, well, we want to be racially considered Caucasian. We want to racially consider and identify as Caucasian. It would have never worked, but we never even tried. We've never tried to do that. All of these other groups of people, they come over here and be all like, well, the closest way to success is to identify as white on paper. We don't do that. Not even because we couldn't get away with that, but because we have too much esteem, self-esteem to sit up there and do that. What our people have been fighting for is saying that, okay, you're white, we're Black, but that doesn't justify us being mistreated. We can all be treated equally. We can all share the resources. We can all get along. We can all, live peacefully in this country. Now, before we were on we want to live peacefully separate from y'all, okay? We don't want to live in the same neighborhoods and the same towns and all of that. We want to live separately from y'all in this country, though. We want to have the same rights as you guys have, but we can live separately. All right, that's what the whole Black Wall Street and all that stuff was about, because that's the type of energy we were on. Now, of course, we all know what happened to that. They blew it up. They flooded it. They took it through eminent domain. We all understand that. And we know the history of that. But that's the type of energy we were on. Never have we tried to fight, especially our leaders, quote unquote, back in the day, our organizations back in the day try to say, well, what we need is to identify as white. No, that's not the case. That's not the case. Not only that they try to do that, and they try to create some type of rationale for it. I want you guys to look at this. Look at this now. This is of recent date. All right. And this is saying majority of Latinos say their race is white in 2-question race and ethnicity format. So most of these Latinos today, this is not in the 1930s or anything. This is today, say that they are white. Okay. All right. A solid all Hispanics. Most of them don't say they're Black. Even the Black ones, and that's unfortunate. Even the Black ones say, well, I'm mixed with 2 races. They don't like Blackness at all, especially the ones born in the United States. The ones born in the United States, I want you guys to look down here. The foreign-born ones. Why would you identify as white if you're not? I thought the whole strategy is you want to be treated as white when you're in America. Why would you identify as white when you're not in America? That kind of doesn't make a lot of sense unless it's something more to it than what you guys are trying to make it seem. Y'all trying to make it seem like this was y'all little quick scheme to get out of discrimination, and that doesn't make any sense because you guys are identifying as white in your homeland. So how does that work? How does that work? Because you guys socially, not just legally, socially identify as white. Now, getting into all of the identification as white. This is why you had Hispanics working with the Confederacy. This is why you have that. They were fighting against our ancestors. I want you guys to look at, this is a quote from the president of LULAC himself. Okay. His name was Felix Garhina, Tarhin, whatever his name is. It says, I can't really see it. I turn my brightness down. It says, quote, let the Negro fight his own battles. His problems are not mine. I don't want to ally with him. This is the president of LULAC, the same LULAC that we're fighting to identify as white. Okay, this is another quote from another civil, quote unquote, civil rights attorney for Mexican Americans. His name is Gus Garcia. He says, I know Negroes aren't getting their full fair share of democracy, but frankly, I'm prejudiced against Negroes, and I don't believe they are entitled to anything that we get. All right. So they'll be honest. They'll be very honest. They'll be blatantly honest about the fact that they don't want it. We not the same. They don't see us as the same. They don't care. They don't. And every time we get something, or every time we're about to get something, or when they need help, then here comes this fictional black and brown stuff. I want you guys to look at this clip because I was looking at all of these clips. I want y'all to look at this real fast.
Hung. We used to get hung on trees, just like black people. We're the same. We used to get all the shit. We used to get hung for the dumbest things, homie. For correcting a little white kid on not using bad language, for looking at a white lady wrong. They would take you and hang you on a tree, throw a party, throw a whole barbecue, homie. You know, they're not the only ones that went through slavery and captivity.
We're not the only ones who went through slavery and captivity. So they're making up the story that because they were, and I'm not going to say there was no non-black people ever hung in America because that's not historically accurate. But they're saying essentially there's a Mexican version of Emmett Till. Yet I've never seen a Mexican version of Emmett Till. I've never seen anything remotely close to that. But notice how every time we say something is them saying, well, we went through the same thing and it's the same thing. Now, listen to this. If y'all thought that was crazy, let's let him finish. Okay. And then that's not slavery. That's not slavery and captivity. Notice how he slipped that part in there. All right. But let's continue.
Ones that went through slavery and captivity. You know, we are actually the ones that went into captivity first in 1492.
I mean, do you see that? Do you see that? We're the ones who went into captivity first in 1492. You went into captivity first. Like, oh, no, you're going to have to elaborate that. You're going to have to elaborate on that. He doesn't do that because that's not historically accurate. He's lying. And this is something that they do. This is why we have to put a stop to all of this revisionist history, because what they'll do is they'll say, oh, well, you know, black and brown, we worked together during the civil rights movement. If we let them get away with that, then they'll say black and brown people, we fought together during the civil rights movement. I mean, during the Civil War. Y'all wouldn't have won it without Mexicans. We let them get away with that. Then black and brown people, we were all enslaved. We were all slaves. Don't you understand? If we let them get away with that, then it becomes technically we were the first slaves. We were here first. That's the end game. That's their goal. Okay. So when they associate our struggle, our legitimate, real, historically backed struggle with their artificial tethering to our struggle, what they intend to do is they intend to use that as a ramp, okay, as a slingshot to say, technically, we deserve more than what you guys get. That's the whole game. And this isn't the only clip to show that. Let's continue. Let's finish this one off.
It's true. I mean, well, but I mean, technically speaking, didn't the Native Americans were the first ones to actually demand reparations? That's why they got land and they got money and they got their reservations, because they demanded that they should at least get land.
Not really. No. And I don't want to veer off too much as far as the Native Americans, but not really. When we were demanding stuff right after the Civil War. That's where the whole 40 acres and a mule came from. They just lied and said, okay, well, all right, we'll give y'all 40 acres and a mule. Oh, well, actually, never mind. We changed our mind. So that's what happened with that. They got their reservations and stuff way after that. So if anything, we were the first people demanding reparations here. So let's not let them even get away with that lie. Because what they'll do, if we let them get away with that lie, what they'll do is they'll say, we got the concept and fight for reparations from them. That's what they'll say if we let them get away with it.
Certain ethnicities have banded together to ask for stuff like that, but the only reason why the North American Indian tribes, because they stuck together, bro. Like, you know, they came together. They actually stood their ground. They had shootouts with, you know, law enforcement.
Yeah.
You know, over pipelines and over, you know, them just trying to throw them off the land, homie.
Yeah.
You know, they created their whole.
Look, and I don't like this either, man. I really don't like that either, because let's not lie. These are, because if anything, we've been the ones fighting the government. Okay, we're the ones who got the Nat Turners of the world. We're the ones who got the Harriet Tubmans of the world. We're the ones who got the John Horses of the world and all of this stuff, the Maroon War and all of that. We're the ones who've been doing that stuff. The quote unquote natives, who you call the $5 Indians, who you call, they've acquiesced. Okay, they capitulated to the European powers. That's why they get to be the 5 civilized tribes. Okay, because they essentially folded and said, okay, yeah, that's true. So all of this, yeah, the natives, they were standing up and they was on horses and shooting back. Not the $5 Indians, okay, not the 5 civilized tribes. Why do you think they called them the 5 civilized tribes? So all of this, notice that all of these other groups of people are really starting to push out this revisionist history all of a sudden. We got a lot to discuss, y'all. I'm really hoping y'all hit that like button, because we still going in. We just touched the surface. Y'all got to hit that like button. Let's continue.
Policing system, you know, and they don't allow the other sheriffs to come within their land. They'll get arrested, you know, and that's dope. You know, I feel that we should all have that. You know, I feel that barrios, gang life is a part of policing your barrio.
Yeah,
it is.
Okay. Now, notice they try to tie the struggle, you know what I'm saying, to reparations. Notice that they try to tie the struggle to black and brown, and we were all, now I ain't never seen, he said we were slaves. I've never seen a picture of no Hispanic, no white Hispanic, because they all identify as white. Most of them do. I showed you the data on that. I've never seen them in no cotton field. I've never seen them picking cotton. I've never seen them getting whipped by the slave master. I've never seen none of that. But let them tell it, they were right there. And I don't understand. They all say that. They were right there with us the entire time. Is just no evidence of that. They even say that with hip hop. They were there from the very beginning, the entire time. Just nobody ever saw them, and there's no record and no evidence at all that exists that they were there ever. But they were there. Let them tell it. Okay. So then let me show you. He goes on, and when they try to do the thing, well, you know, technically we were here first. If you really, really, really think about it, we were here first. That leads to, we deserve things that they don't really deserve. Listen, look at this. This is the same guy, I believe. Yeah, look at this. Come on.
Most of the so-called Africans or African American people are actually indigenous to this land. You know, they were already here. Columbus didn't find nothing new. There were already people here, you know, and he was in search while he was studying prophecy and scripture, trying to find a holy people that were promised a land that was located to the west, which was essentially us. And when he came on this land, he called us Indians because he thought he landed in India, which it wasn't true, you know. But we're melanated people. Some contain a little bit more melanin than others, you know, but we're still indigenous to this land. This land is ours, you know. So all this reparations and stuff that they want to give, you know, 40 acres and a mule or whatever, that's frivolous. That
See, do you see what I'm saying? When they tie themselves in, this is why they do. This is why they always try to tie themselves to our struggle, our claims as far as slavery, as far as this. He's speaking, I don't know how these Mexican people speaking so much French, because I'm hearing we a lot. I'm hearing that a lot. They tie themselves to our struggles, and then next thing you know, they be all like, yeah, you know what? The whole 40 acres and a mule, we don't even want that. We don't want 40 acres and a mule. We don't want no money. We don't want no. Don't. We were all the same, and they try to do that. We were all the same. That way they can say, well, because we were all the same, I get to speak on this subject as if I'm an authority. And since I'm an authority on this subject, I'm going to say we do not want reparations. You notice that? You notice that?
That wouldn't account for anything. You know, that's blasphemy against our people, black and brown. We need our land back, point blank. There's no amount of money that can substantiate.
Now, what's interesting is that when the Hispanics were over here the last few years or so, and they were just getting checks written for them by the Biden administration, when Biden was just signing checks, cutting checks for them, I didn't hear nobody say, we don't want those checks. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear any Hispanic influencer, activist, whatever? Did you guys hear any of them say, we don't want those checks that the Biden administration is cutting for us, that the city of Chicago, that the city of New York, that the city of Denver, Boston, Los Angeles, we don't want those checks. We don't want that money. Did you hear any of them say that? Okay. So when they get money and stuff like that, mum's the word. They don't ever say we don't want those checks or anything like that. But now when it comes to us, well, you know, money is frivolous. What is money going to do? The dollar is dying anyway. We don't want no black and brown. They don't want no money. No. We're not going to do that now. No, we're not going to play that game. No. Okay.
The amount of killing and bloodshed that's been done on our people, point blank period. You know, so I don't know. It would be the somebody me asking you, hey, how much do you think you're worth? Are you worth 40 acres and a mule? Oh, nah. I think you're priceless.
Okay, you think, okay, it's not about how much we're worth. It's about how much damage has been done. Now, when it comes to the reparations, y'all, I want y'all to listen to this. They don't listen. They don't mind getting money. They don't have no problem with getting money. They have an issue with us getting our money. Now, if they can tether themselves to us and we all get this black and brown thing, that's how we all get along. We get along when everybody gets something. The only way people agree and people are cool with foundational Black Americans is when everybody is eating off our plate. When we get a pie and everybody gets to share, everybody gets a slice of the pie, then everything is peachy, everything is good. But now when we get something and we say, you know what, this is ours, we're going to keep this to ourselves, they don't want us to have it. Look at this.
Small little town in North Carolina that passed reparations for whoever's over there. I'm sure they'll try to do something out here in California. I think they already actually got a little board going that they're going to start looking into it. So
yeah, and that's when we, the raza, need to step up, protest, and I'm talking major, and turn around and tell them, no, nobody getting reparations until the Native Americans and the Mexicans get ours first.
Listen, brother.
Okay, did y'all let me play that back. He says, first off, California ain't give no reparations, or he said North Carolina. I think he said North Carolina didn't get the those reparations, right? He says that's why we, La Raza, which means to purify the race, that's the white Latinos, we need to step up and protest them getting reparations. Okay, we need to protest us getting reparations because we can't get nothing without them getting it first. That's what they say. Look, listen.
We, the raza, need to step up, protest, and I'm talking major, and turn around and tell them, no, nobody gained reparations until the Native Americans and the Mexicans get ours first. We've been going through this crap a lot longer, so I don't want to hear it. Because it's not.
See, in the whole, we've been going through this a lot longer. No. That's what the other guy was saying. Well, technically, you know, black people have been through this and we've all been through the same. But and notice every time they try to tie themselves to us, they always give their group an extra little boost. They'll say, well, black and brown, we've been struggling together. But, you know, Mexicans been struggling a little bit longer, but it doesn't really matter. And it does matter. That's why they say it. Because when it's time to seek the benefits to get the restorative justice, they say, hold on, let me get in the front of the line. We've been here first. So if anything, we deserve what they don't deserve. We ain't going to play that game. That they do that so they can get in front of the line. Just keep this in mind. Just understand this. So the whole we've been here first. No, y'all ain't been here first. There's no Spanish people ain't been here first. Y'all have not been here longer than foundational Black Americans. This is why it's important for us to also understand our indigenous history and claim to this land, because now you got these other groups of people who have not been here first claiming that, hey, we've been through this longer than you guys. So if anything, we should get the reparations before y'all. And it's so much so that we're not going to protest us getting reparations. We're going to protest against you guys getting reparations. That's how badly that's their mind frame. It's not about what we want for ourselves. It's about, I'll be damned if y'all get anything that we don't get. That's how they think. While they talking about black and brown people been like this since the civil rights movement. This is the black and brown unity and coalition of the civil rights movement. This is what you're telling me?
Not fair. The Mexican get ours first. We've been going through this crap a lot longer, so I don't want to hear it. Because it's not fair, dog. How are you going to give a bunch of money to a specific group, dog? This is the United States, a melting pot. How are you going to give it to a specific group?
Because
now, when they was getting all of these monies to illegal, they were putting out programs, checks, set-asides, benefits, resources to illegal immigrants. You didn't hear, how are you going to give that to a specific group? This is a melting pot. No, they were giving billions of dollars. I just did the live stream about the hearing on sanctuary cities from the Capitol, okay? And they were confessing that they spent billions of dollars specifically on them. And these are just major cities, okay? That's not even counting all of the government money that's been spent on them. And that's just in 4 cities, all right? And that's just to say what they've admitted to. That's not even adding up all of the other stuff like hospital expenses and all of this other stuff, all right? Billions of dollars. So when billions of dollars get spent specifically and exclusively on them, that's fine. But then when it comes to us getting our reparations from a debt that we are owed, from a land that we built, is America's a melting pot. I don't understand this. This isn't fair. Okay. That's really how they think about everything. That's how they think about everything.
Right now, they've got the white people with so much guilt. It was your parents. Yeah.
Notice this too. Oh, we got the white people with so much guilt. Oh, and that's the reparations argument, which is what they try to do. The reparations argument is the white guilt argument. That's what they try to claim. It's the white guilt argument. We make white people feel guilty. No, white people ain't felt guilty at all. Majority of white people don't feel guilty about slavery. That's not what we try. We're not trying to change the hearts of anybody. All right. We saying that, hey, it's a debt that's owed, whether you want to pay it or don't want to pay it, you still gonna have to pay it. Whether you feel guilty or don't feel guilty, you still gonna have to. This is why we're not asking for an apology. If we really wanted to make them feel guilty, if we really wanted to make them feel some type of way and guilt and shame of their ancestors, we would be demanding a big national apology. We could care less about an apology. We could care less about an apology. As a matter of fact, anytime they offer an apology, we say, nah, we cool. We cool. We don't even really care about no apology. We just want the reparations. So this ain't about no white guilt. This is about the money that we have made, our people have made, that they have taken from us. That's what the whole thing is about. It ain't about no white guilt. And notice how he says it. He says it in a very condescending, mocking way. Oh, white people shouldn't feel guilty. That's because he identifies as white. These are the people you're telling me were fighting alongside black civil rights leaders during the civil rights movement. The people who are making fun of us getting reparations, talking about white people shouldn't feel guilty. No. Okay. This is who you guys are talking about? Or are these the same descendants? Because we're descended from our ancestors, and they're descended from their ancestors. Their ancestors who fought together for slavery, those are the ancestors that, those are ancestors that they're getting this from. All right. Let me see. All right. Let me get to some of the before. Hold on. I clicked the wrong thing. Because there's still more we got to cover. Because we talking about that there's no black and brown unity. Let me get you some of the cash app. Shout out to Antithesis. Melvina. Shout out to Melvina. Shout out to Antithesis. Shout out to Nub. Kyrie, Vanessa, and Latrivia. Shout out to every single last one of you guys for y'all cash apps. Then let me get you the super chat in the chat room. Magul, he says, it's been an exploitive relationship, especially in these so-called blue states. It has. And this is something that we have to understand. Thank you for that. This is something we have to understand. Everything that we have gotten through our civil rights, through advocating when it comes to affirmative action, even everything that we have fought for, everything that we have struggled for, all of our plight. Because I want you guys to understand this. The rights, quote unquote, that we have in America, that everybody benefits, all of that is based off of the plight of black people. Every single group, including white people, get to benefit off of the plight of black people. Okay. Back in for majority of American history, and we really got to understand history with this. For majority of American history, it was perfectly fine and legal. It was socially acceptable and legal to just openly discriminate against any and everybody. You can discriminate against people with disabilities. You can discriminate against women. You can discriminate against blacks. You can discriminate against any non-whites. You could discriminate. It was until us. We are the ones who stepped up and said, hey, you know what? We're fighting for behalf of black people, but let's just keep this real. Any discrimination is wrong. We were fighting on behalf of righteousness and morality. And because we fought and we accomplished these things on behalf of righteousness or morality, all discrimination just in general ended. It was not a legal thing or even a socially acceptable thing for you to discriminate against groups of people. Okay. So because of that, women were able to get their women's rights and stuff like that. Let's keep this in mind. That was based off of black people fighting and then joining the suffrage movement and all of that stuff. Because white women, let's be real about it, white women owned a lot of slaves. So the whole women's rights and the feminism, the early wave of feminism, that fell on deaf ears because when they were talking about how they were being mistreated, all of the other people were looking like, but y'all was owning slaves too. Oh, and they were not just owning slaves. They were doing some very horrific things to men, women, and children. Okay. Don't because the 12 years of slaves and all and roots and stuff, they're not going to paint this picture of white women as evil as white men. They're not going to do it. But that's the truth. If you understand the actual history of it, okay? I'm going to be very honest with you. Some of the most horrific incidents of slave owners in their slaves were white women. If we're going to be real about it. Some of the most brutal and demonic situations happened by white women. There was one white woman, I forgot her name. They put her on this one show. They made a story about her on this one show. I think American Horror Story. I think that's the show. they made the thing. She used to chop up. She used to cut like body parts and stuff, and I don't want to be too graphic. They used to chop up slaves' body parts, and she would like sew them together. She would literally create like Frankenstein monsters of slaves. Okay, she would tie children to radiators, and back in the day, you didn't have like heating and cooling that would come through the vents. All right. Back in the day, you would have like radiators or fireplaces and stuff where it would just be one radiator in the room, and it would heat the whole room up. And the heat from the radiator would heat the whole room up. All right. And she would tie the slaves to the radiator and then turn the radiator. It was very, very, very sick. I think, what did you say? Somebody, Annie Palmer. I think that is her name. But it was very, very evil what they used to do. And it wasn't just Madame Laurent. I think, what was her name? Madame Lauren. I think whatever, because there's a few of them. It's a few different stories, okay? It's a few different stories. But this is why the women's suffrage movement, this is why it really didn't take off. Because they were fighting against people, and then they were like, y'all was doing way more sick things than we were doing. How are you going to talk about, because the whole movement about fight rights and equality and being treated fair, that needs to be based off of righteousness, okay? You can't be all like, yeah, I'm also the bad guy, but I've been mistreated. That's not really going to go nowhere. I think it was Dave Chappelle who made this joke one time. I think it was him. He made a joke a while ago, years ago, where he was talking about two bank robbers. And then one of the bank robbers robbed the other guy. And then that guy's all like, hey, well, they robbed both of us, or they robbed somebody. And then one person sticked up the other robber. And then he was like, we got robbed. No, we didn't get robbed. Just because you got the short end of the stick. And Manny Lou Lauren, I think is Madame Lou Lauren. I think that is her name. I think that is her name in the chat room. I believe it is. The white women got, let's be honest, they got the shorter end of the stick. That's it. They are 100% just as guilty. Okay? So that's why the women's suffrage movement, it really didn't take off. It wasn't until black people, because we don't have a foundation of black Americans, we don't have a history of mistreating, torturing, or doing anything like that to any other group of people. It wasn't until black people were like, they need to be treated right. They need to be treated equal. They need to be paid fairly. They need the right to vote. They need all of this stuff. And then they were able to get their rights based off of our plight, even though they were the ones participating in our struggle. They were the ones participating in our subjugation and our oppression. We still fought for them to be treated evenly, because we were all like, all of this discrimination, all of this mistreatment, all of this, all of this, that is wrong, and we got to stop that. That's what we were on. That's the page we were on. So all of our fighting, when it comes to fighting for justice and equality, the Hispanic community has benefited tremendously from that. The Asian community has benefited tremendously from that. Women have benefited tremendously from that. Okay. You can say the Jewish community, all of these communities have benefited tremendously from our advocacy. Let's be very honest. So, that goes to what he was talking about. That goes to exactly what our brother was talking about in the super chat. So when we talk about what we deserve, and notice everybody's cool when we're fighting, when we're on the front lines, when we're taking the brunt of the issue, when our children are getting beat up, thrown in jail, eaten up by dogs and all of this, everybody's cool with that. But then, because we all share it. But then when we say, hey, all this, we ain't going to be sharing this stuff no more. Now they don't want us to have nothing. That's their mentality. All right. That's what they think. That's what they believe. Shout out to our sister C. Terry for this $5 super chat. Shout out to our sister Nora, Queen Nora, for the super chat. She says, we've always been the only folks we've got. That's true. And ain't nobody else backed us up. a lot of these other groups of people, even though we were fighting for their equality, they were still discriminating against black people. I mean, we could talk about this we could talk about all these other groups, but I don't want to get too thrown off of all these other groups. All right. But they were talking about protesting our reparations. So let's just do a recap of this black and brown coalition thing that they said existed. So we're going to go through a couple of stories and a couple of incidents that kind of highlights this black and brown alliance that they claim we have so much. Hold on. Oh, okay. Man, okay. Yeah, StreamYard's been changing some stuff around. I'm going to have to switch it up. So I want you to look, I just want you to look at the date of this, because we got a lot to go through. So it says Latino gang members in Southern California are terrorizing and killing blacks. This happened in 2007. All right. We're just going to look at a little bit of this. Okay. So it says acting on orders from the Mexican mafia, Latino gang members in Southern California are terrorizing and killing blacks. So they were ordered by the Mexican mafia to terrorize and kill black people. Okay. Happened in 2007. All right. So let's look at some of this. It says ascending the steep steps that led from the street to the scene of her son's murder. 47-year-old Louisa Pudum is charged. That's a Hispanic name, so is pronounced differently in English than it is in Spanish. Is charged by the Doberman Pinscher. Sorry, hold on. I do not know how to pronounce these names. It doesn't matter. It says Pudum reaches over a gate and gives the guard dog a rough pat on the head. Sam doesn't seem to remember me, he says. What Pudum will never forget is that just past the snarling Doberman is an apartment on a hill where 6 years ago, her 21-year-old son, Anthony, was shot in the face with a .25 caliber semi-automatic while lying on a futon she had purchased for him from IKEA. Okay. He died wearing a shirt that read, "Keep the peace." So they're literally killing is not, and I want you guys to understand this. This is not gang violence or anything like that. That's what they'll say. This man was chilling at his own home, and this Mexican man just came over, just started killing him. All right. I want you guys to look at this other story. Let's look at another story. We got a couple of stories that we want to cover because I really want to home in on the fact that there is no, nor has there ever been, some black and brown alliance and coalition, because you don't see stories like this the other way around. Feds, Latino gang targets blacks. A Latino street gang waged a racist campaign to eliminate the Southern California black residents through attempted murders and other crimes, according to a federal racketeering indictment. All right. This also happened in 2009. So the other one, this is not the same story. This happened in 2009. The first one was 2007. The second one is 2009. It says a Latino street gang waged a racist campaign to eliminate the city's black residents through attempted murders and other crimes, according to a federal racketeering indictment unsealed Thursday. It continues to say 5 indictments charge a total of 147 members and associates of the Barrio Hawaiian Gardens gang. Federal and local agencies arrested 63 of them by early Thursday, U.S. Attorney Tom P. O'Brien said at a news conference. All right. It says other 35 defendants were already in custody on unrelated charges. Weapons and drugs worth more than $1 million also were seized in what O'Brien called, quote, the largest gang takedown in United States history. Now, mind you, this story happened in 2009. All right. So that was 2007. That's 2009. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. This is right after she's saying that we were fighting together during the civil rights movement, even though they were classifying themselves as white. Let's look at another story, shall we? Let's look at another story, okay? Latino gang charged with racial cleansing attacks in California. It's a lot of racial attacks in California, y'all. They really cannot stand black people in California. They really can't. They really cannot do that. This happened in 2011. So you have one in 2007. I want y'all to understand these are all separate stories. One in 2007, one in 2009, one in 2011. Let's look at this a little bit, all right? It says, a Latino gang accused of attempting a racial cleaning of African Americans in Zelle, California. It says has been, excuse me, hold on, I have to cough. Has been indicted for a federal rights conspiracy, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. All right, wasn't this when Kamala Harris was? I got to get my numbers right. I got to get my number. Was she the district attorney or the attorney? When was Kamala Harris? I think Kamala Harris, this was around the time Kamala Harris was really kind of running things, wasn't it? Wasn't this around the time Kamala Harris was running things? I got to check my dates on that. That just came to me. It just came to me. It continues to say, prior federal cases involving street gangs have included racial violent allegations, but this indictment is only the second time in history that federal civil rights laws have been used against members of a criminal street gang. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Just keep going. Azus 13, that's the name of the gang, waged a campaign of hate against African Americans, a 2-decade crime spree. 2 decades, that's 20 years, 20-year crime spree in which African Americans were harassed and attacked. Said Andre Barrett Jr., the U.S. attorney. Well, I guess he wasn't, Kamala wasn't the attorney general at this time, because this is saying this is the U.S. attorney general. The U.S. attorney for the Central District of California. So, okay, maybe this was around the time she was coming up. I guess she wasn't an attorney general at this time. Yeah, I think it was a little bit later at that time. Maybe I think she was the district attorney at this time. But I want you guys to keep this in mind. U.S. Attorney General. U.S. Attorney General. All right? I mean, not 20 years. He said this has been going on for 20 years. This happened in 2011. Okay? So 20 years, you can take that all the way back. So this was going on in the 90s. This was right after the quote-unquote civil rights protest that we were all working together for and we were all fighting together for. Okay, that's one story. That's one story. Let's look at another story, shall we? Because we're thoroughly going to debunk this whole black and brown coalition lie that they keep trying to push. We're thoroughly going to debunk this. It says Latino gang members firebombed black residents to drive them out of Boyle Heights projects, prosecutor alleged. When did this happen? This happened in 2016. Now, I'm pretty sure Kamala was the attorney general around that time in 2016. I'm pretty sure around because yeah, this was a few years before the presidential election. I'm pretty sure she was running that in 2016. Probably might not be 2011, but 2016, if I remember correctly, she was. So I just want you guys to recap, because we just been going through these stories real fast. Okay, so you have a story from 2007, 2011. Let me see, 2007, 2009, 2011, and now we have 2016. All right, we got a lot of stories in between. You guys are confirming, yeah, she was the attorney general. Okay, she started in 2011 and then she ended in 2017. So yeah, okay, she was the attorney general during this time. All right, so it says seven, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Latino gang members have been charged with firebombing the homes of black families living in Boyle Heights housing project an attack that federal prosecutors allege was designed to drive African Americans out of the neighborhood. Notice that this is a tactic that we see often with white supremacists. We see white supremacists pull this move. This is how they got rid of Black Wall Streets and all of this stuff. This is how they got rid of all of our black towns and stuff like this. And this is the same methods and same moves that they're doing now. All right. We're going to just look at a little bit of this. A little bit. The federal indictment, unsealed Thursday, describes how the gang members allegedly planned to carry out a May 12, 2014 attack, which came at a time when black families were increasingly moving back into the Ramona Gardens public housing complex after previous violence that prompted most African Americans to flee. So see, now this is the Black and Brown coalition, y'all. This is the Black and Brown coalition that we need to be reliant upon. This is the Black and Brown coalition. Let's look at another story. If you guys don't remember this happened even recently, even more recent. Latin gangs, man, these Latin gangs is out of control, y'all. Where are the Latin advocates talking about these Latin gangs and their attacks on black people? Because as much as they want to talk about black gangs, we don't have a whole bunch of black gangs just randomly attacking Latinos. You don't have a bunch of black people going into, even black gang members, going in Latino neighborhoods, just attacking Latinos. You don't have that. But you got a whole bunch of Latin gangs going into black neighborhoods and just outright targeting black people. Now, if there is some black and Latino violence, that's because they're rival gangs. Even gang members aren't out here just attacking Latino citizens. That's not what's going on. That's not what's going on. It says Latin gangs attack black Chicago protesters in effort to assist police. Okay. It says now I don't want to show no violence. A witness video shared on Twitter shows Latino men throwing bricks at cars driving by, and there were pregnant women in those cars. Let's look at it. Okay, look into a little bit of the story while they keep trying to talk about some Black and Brown coalition, right? It says Latino leaders in Chicago are calling for a truce. How can it be a truce when only one group is attacking? A truce after it was reported that black residents were being attacked in some Latino neighborhoods by local gang members who allegedly offered to help police deter protesters. Oh, okay. So we seeing who y'all clicked up with. We seeing who y'all teamed up with. Okay. It says Sunday, 4 black women and a child were reportedly driving through the Little Village area where their car was struck 3 times with bats as men stood in the street. In the Facebook video of the incident, another car can be seen burning in the background. So I'm talking about they were just brutally. It was like a sundown town in these Latino neighborhoods. And this is in 2020, this during the George Floyd protest and all of that stuff, where they was all like, we were on the front lines helping you guys. We were on the front lines. So what do you mean we don't like black people? We were always been there. No, we're not going to let them get away with this lie. We remember history very well. We remember history very, very well. Now, let me give you guys a good reminder. Since we're talking about Latinos, and a lot of these stories are coming out of California. A lot of these stories are coming out of California. Do you guys, let me see if I can pull her picture up. Do you guys remember this woman? Okay. This woman named Nora Martinez, she was leaked. Nora Martinez, she had audio leaked of her. And what she was doing is she was going on a racist rant against black people. What she was trying to do, and this is around, she was a former politician. She used to be a part of the Los Angeles Council. Okay. And she had audio leaked, and I'm going to play it right here. She had audio leaked of her saying pretty much the Hispanics should be against black people. I'm going to play just a little bit. I'm going to just play a little bit.
You know, folks like with that's going. He did call me. He wants to have breakfast with me.
What's taking him so long?
I haven't. I just said, hey, we need to talk.
You supported him from the.
All right, don't worry, I got you. So you'll start seeing them line up. Isaac was the first.
Did y'all catch it? The F that guy, he's with the blacks. I turned it up as loud as you guys, as loud as I could.
You supported him from the.
All right, don't worry, I got you. So you'll start seeing them line up. Isaac was the first.
F that guy. He's with, and this was actually a politician. Okay. This was a politician, y'all. And she was having this around other politicians as well, too. She was having this around the Los Angeles chief of labor. All right. Chief of labor. And a lot of them, they had to resign and all of that stuff. There was mass protests about her getting fired. Okay. Let's look at the article about it. Hold on. Let's look at this article about this situation. Why is this? I do not like the way StreamYard has changed that stuff. I wish they would change it back. It just because you got to press a lot of buttons. Is the LA County Federation of Labor Chief Ron Horea resigns amid leaked tape scandal. Okay. This happened in 2022. All right. It says Ron, I'm just going to call him Ron, the president of the Los Angeles County Federation of Labor, who joined in the leaked audio conversation that has shaken City Hall leadership, has resigned. Now, I want you guys to keep this in mind. Let's put this in its proper context. These are the people who they'll look after Hispanics. So when we go for a job and then when they go for a job, it's not that we're not qualified. It's because they're looking out for other Hispanics. So there's racial discrimination. And what they'll do is that white supremacy, they'll be all like, hold on. You can't say it's racial discrimination. They're a minority too. No. They're all minorities. You guys are all people of color. So how can you? It's no, you guys are always blaming someone on race. It's really you guys. And they use these people as buffers to hide their racism. That's what they use them for, as buffers to hide their racism. They'll look after their own group of people over us, discriminate against us, just like Nora Martinez, just like the labor union and all that stuff. These labor unions, they deliberately hire even underqualified and illegal, many times, Latinos, overqualified and legal black citizens. And then we get told we're lazy and we need to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps like they do. That's what we get told. That they're just so hardworking and we need to work as hard as they do. Let's continue to look at the article just a little bit, because we still got more to cover, y'all. We still got more to cover. Okay. Now this was it says on Thursday, it says Hollywood Teamsters location 399 is calling for the immediate resignation of Ron Herrera, president of the Los Angeles Federation of Labor, for his role in a leaked audio tape that's riling the Los Angeles City Council. Local 399 says that in a statement that if he does not resign, it will pull out of the federation. It says Herrera does not appear to have made racist comments, has apologized for not speaking up when others did in a secret recording meeting that Local 399, that's the labor number, okay, alleged was taped at the office of LA Council Federation of Labor. City Council President Nora Martinez resigned Monday, and there has been calls for council members Gil Sodorlo and Kevin De Leon. I'm not Spanish. Y'all can clearly tell that. It says, who also took part in the leaked conversation, to step down as well. So all of them were able to really step down from their positions after all of this stuff got leaked. And I want you guys to understand that this only got leaked because they do it so often, somebody had the foresight to record them because they have these conversations so often, so frequently. All right. Now, that's some more stuff. Remember this. Since we talking about this black and brown coalition stuff, do you guys remember this? This came from former, I guess, former boxer. I don't know if he's still a boxer. Ryan says, I think it's Ryan Garcia, I believe he is. Listen to this.
These niggas, I hate niggas. These niggas, I hate niggas. I'm anti-black. Nigga, I'm KKK, nigga. I hate niggas.
Nigga, I'm KKK.
No, nigga, I'm KKK. Hey, let's go bring George Floyd back to life and kill that nigga again.
Why do you skip?
Okay. That's interesting. He says, I'm KKK. Let's bring George Floyd back to life and kill him again. I'm just finding it very difficult to find this black and brown coalition that they keep saying that existed back during the civil rights movement. I'm finding it very difficult. Okay. Because, I mean, it seems like y'all let it be known how much y'all hate black people all of the time. Let me show you this other story. Now, I played this before when it first broke, but I got to remind y'all brace yourselves because this story is probably going to make a lot of y'all upset, but I got to show y'all because this is very dangerous and it's very important that we keep these stories in our memory.
11-year-old Trinity Washington prepares for a second surgery this week.
My eye is doing so much pain. My eye and my nose.
Sunday night, the girl had emergency surgery on her eye. She and her mother say the injuries happened after neighbors hosting a Mexican Independence Day celebration used a racial slur against the African-American family.
That word shouldn't be used towards us. It shouldn't. It shouldn't be used towards anybody. Nobody should use that word because that's a bad word.
A few minutes later, 2 women allegedly attacked the girl when she didn't move her 3-month-old Yorkie out of their way. The 6th grade honor student and cheer captain named her puppy Barbie. Washington and her mom say Barbie was stepped on by one of the women but survived. Then they say the aggressors targeted Washington.
I looked up. A bottle came towards my face, being thrown to my face. I dropped down because I felt something hard.
And I want you guys to keep this in mind, that this alleged incident happened over the fact that she didn't move her small little dog out the way. So they stomped on the dog and then attacked this 11-year-old. These are grown women. These are not women her age. These are not even like older teenagers. These are adult women who did this to this little girl.
She punched me in my nose. When she punched me in my nose, I almost blacked out because I fell again.
I want justice. I want them.
So they attacked this woman. They stomped on, almost killed the dog. They didn't kill the dog because this small little dog where you can literally, Yorkies are so small. Okay, and my auntie has one, so I know. Yorkies are so small, you can literally pick one up with one single hand. You could have moved this. There's not like no big dog or no heavy dog where you can't move it out the way. This is just an excuse to say something, okay? Because if your dog was so annoying or whatever the case is, and you move the dog out the way, there was no need for this, okay? It was no justification for this at all. This was a 100% racial attack. This was 110% a racial attack. So then these grown Hispanic women threw a glass bottle at this 11-year-old black girl's face. She falls to the ground. And then as she's getting up, they punch her in the face, breaking her nose. If the bottle didn't break her nose. So she got glass and cuts all up in her face. Her nose is all broken. Because she didn't, quote unquote, move her dog out the way. This wasn't because of that. And the news is trying to confuse you. They ain't got nothing to do with the dog. This has something to do with the fact that they were saying the N-word, all right? And the black girl was all like, hey, that's not cool. Y'all can't be saying the N-word. They were calling, and they called her the N-word, and the black girl was checking them about calling her the N-word. So she was attacked because these Hispanics went on a racial spree where they were saying racial epithets towards this little girl, and she said something about it, and then they attacked her. That's what happened. This ain't got nothing to do, and the news is doing this to make it seem like this is less of a, like, the dog ain't got nothing to do with this. Had the dog been there or not been there, I guess it's wrong to step on the dog, whatever. But had the dog been there, not been there, the same thing would have happened. Because this was about them saying the N-word and this black girl saying something about it. And they only said it to bother her. All right. Well, she needed several surgeries and all of this stuff. And can you just imagine all of the trauma she got to go through? Probably got PTSD and all of this stuff.
To see her.
Washington's mother preferred for her face not to be shown on TV.
Everyone have been so supportive with just sharing the love, letting her know that she is beautiful. I'm just heartbroken that this happened to her.
For the girl who hopes to someday be a pediatrician, she says this is not only painful, but confusing.
I didn't do anything. I was just trying to put my dog in a house.
The police report the family shared with ABC7 classified this case as an aggravated battery of a child. Today, Chicago police tell us no one is in custody and the case is being investigated as Washington prepares for surgery tomorrow.
No, and notice that too. This is also why we are demanding a hate crime law. This is why we're not playing with that. Because what are you talking about? Just an aggravated battery of a child. This is clearly a racial hate crime. You calling this black girl the N-word and then throwing a bottle at her face, how is that not considered a hate crime? That by definition should be considered a hate crime. If this was any other community, if you did this to some other community, you called them some type of racial slur or even a slur at all, if you called them a slur at all, and to their particular group, it doesn't even have to be a racial one. If you called them a slur at all, if you called a woman the B word, and then a man called a woman the B word and then hit her with a bottle, they would say this is a sexist attack. Okay, this is a hate crime against women. That's what they would say. If you did this to somebody who was gay or bisexual or trans, and you did that to them, called them a racial slur, and then hit them with a bottle, they would say that's a homophobic. This is a hate crime against the LGBT community. If you did this against a religious group of people, they would say, well, this is clearly evidence of anti-Semitism. That's an anti-Semitic attack. If you did this to a group of Japanese people, Chinese people, Korean people, they would say this is clearly a hate crime against Asians, and we got another hate crime bill. If you did this against Hispanics, if you did this against Arabs, if you did this against any and everybody, they would immediately say this is a hate crime. But you do this against black people, and this ain't a hate crime. It's a crime against a child. This is battery against children. But yeah, a hate crime. I don't really know about that. I mean, just because you called somebody the N-word and then you beat them up, that don't mean you beat them up because they're black. I mean, let's not jump to conclusions. Let's not do that. Let's not be extreme. But when it comes to these other groups of people, instant hate crime. So when we show you guys the statistics of our hate crimes, and we show you guys the fact that we have higher hate crimes than all of these other groups of people, you still have to take this with a grain of salt, that all these stories that are clearly a hate crime, everybody can see this is clearly a hate crime. They don't want to report it as a hate crime. The police are not going to document this as a hate crime. This is what we be talking about. Our hate crime, most of our hate crimes go completely underreported. They do. They really do. So this is why all of this black and brown coalition stuff, that we got to stop that. That's over with. That's got to be over with. All right. These are the people, when we demanding our rights, they sit up there and call us lazy. Remember this clip from City Hall?
Only for you. You working. No more money for you. Bye-bye.
Go back across the
No more money for you. It's lazy. You lazy.
So yeah, when the Hispanics were over there and they were sitting up there getting all of that free money from the Chicago government, they were talking about how we're lazy. So remember this. And you didn't see any Hispanics coming out there saying, don't tell them they're not lazy. There are black and brown brothers and sisters, and we got to stick together through the hard times and all of this stuff. Dang, you ain't hear none of that. You did not hear any of that. So now that Trump won and now they're getting deported and now they're cutting off all of these resources that they were giving to these illegal immigrants, now all of a sudden, you guys understand, black and brown, we've been like this the whole time. Don't let anybody tell you we've been together the whole time. We've been locked in. Don't let nobody push this division on you guys. No, we've been together. We've been fighting before the civil rights movement even. No, because when they get something, they wag it in our face. They be flexing their money and all of our resources that they get in our face. And then got the nerve to call us lazy. If we say something to them, I'm talking, and I've gave you so many incidents, and there's so many more. There's so many incidents of Latino gangs, and a lot of, they'll say gangs, but a lot of them are just Latino. They're just Latino citizens. What happened to that black girl in that story I just showed you guys? They're not a part of no gang. That black girl didn't go up to no gang member and say nothing to a gang member. These are just two Hispanic women, okay? And I want y'all to understand that, because the women and the men have the same ideology as far as the way they treat black people. So this whole thing about, well, yeah, they all admit, well, I do have a racist uncle, and, you know, we don't really associate with my racist uncle. No, it's not about no racist uncle. All of them are like that. When I say all, the collective, the culture is like that. The culture is very much so like that. The few of them who don't say anything, but who got black friends, but they don't want to speak out against that, they comply. They comply. Even the ones who don't do it, they don't like to speak out against it. They don't. So let's not play that game. We're not even going to play that game where they all like, well, you know, well, all of us aren't like that. Some of us are. No. Because the ones who don't say anything about it, you guys are on the same team. This is why we got to make sure that we separate and we delineate from all of these black and brown minority coalitions and stuff like that. Let me bring up this other thing. Hold on. I just found this other thing a second ago. Let me find this. Hold on. I mean, in the jails, hold on. Let me see. No, that's not what it was. Oh, that's the same thing. The firebombing. Y'all remember, and this is why we got to separate, like, do not at all let them try to tie themselves to our history, even when it comes to hip hop. When it comes to hip hop, what they try to do is they try to see, like, yeah, there was this black and brown thing. And if we allow them, which I'm glad we don't, I'm glad we got, you know, microphone check out there, giving the truth. Shout out to Tariq for that. Because if we allow them to talk about black and brown started hip hop, then next thing you know, they're going to say, well, technically, they got hip hop from us. We're going to be honest. They got hip hop from us, just like they did with reparations. Oh, no, black and brown people, we were like this in slavery. We were like this in the civil rights movement. And then that leads to, we were like this during slavery. And then that leads to, we were here before you guys. Reparations belong to us before it belonged to y'all. They try to tie themselves and they're opportunists. They're opportunists. They tie themselves right here. They're shoulder to shoulder. And then when they see the gold, they bam, elbow us in the side. And as we sit up there holding our side, they run and get it. That's how they do. Remember Fat Joe? We dealt with this, what, last year or something. Remember this?
These rumors were made by radical black racists. Let's just say that. Okay? It's a group of these guys that don't want to hear Jamaican. don't want to hear Guyanese, they don't want to hear a black guy that ain't down with them.
Right.
Right? So their job is to criticize anybody who don't look like them or who ain't black American.
Who are these guys?
You want me to say a name? We're going to give them too much clout.
I mean,
the FBA, Foundational Black Authority, whoever the fuck these broke niggas is.
Yeah, he's not a black Hispanic, and he's saying the N-word, and they sitting up there laughing. All of them sitting up there laughing at him. If we broke niggas and all that stuff, the other dude calling us lazy and all. Notice when we don't allow them to take what we want, Fat Joe, he's the same guy like this guy. They're not the same person, but they have the same mindset. All of these people, and I'm showing you all of these different clips to show you guys, all of these people have the same exact mindset. When we say that we should get something that they shouldn't get, it's F the black people. We hate black people. The anti-blackness comes out in full force. It comes out and it's at such a potent degree. You see more anti-blackness from them than you do from the Europeans. Okay. And the reason why you see that is because European anti-blackness and European racism, they're more subtle with it. They're more calm with it because they see themselves at the top of the racial hierarchy. They see themselves at the top of this racial hierarchy, and black people are at the bottom. And they have a lot, and everybody else is in between. Okay, they're at the top of the pyramid, we're at the bottom, you guys know, and there's a lot of other groups of people in between. So they don't necessarily have to deal with us as a threat to them being at the top. Listen, we are a threat to them being at the top, all right? But there's nobody above them because this is the system of white supremacy. The Hispanics are very different because the Hispanics are in this sandwiched situation, okay? And they're in a situation, it's interesting, the psychology of it. They're in a situation of, I'm getting mistreated because I'm not Caucasian, and they have to overdo the anti-blackness to show allegiance to the top of the pyramid. Okay, it's like them trying to impress the Europeans. Okay, they desperately want to be or want to have the status of the top of the pyramid. Okay, so a lot of that is them overdoing their hatred of black people. They have disdain of black people because they see themselves closer to black people than they do to the Europeans, and they try to socially divorce themselves from that. It creates this hatred to that. Okay, it's a different psychological thing, which is why a lot of times you see a lot more open anti-blackness, not just from them, from the Asian community, from all of these other ethnic groups, than you do see from the Europeans. Because the Europeans, they don't, first off, they understand that because of the history of racism, not just in this country, but in the world, they have to be a lot more subtle, because the whole thing of white supremacy is playing it as if it does not exist anymore. So their job discrimination and stuff like that, they have to be very subtle with that. That's why they're leading the pack. They socially understood, okay, we have to be subtle with racism. All right. We can't be having these outbursts like that, which is why when Karens and all of that, when they have outbursts, they try to segregate them off and say, oh, that's just mental illness. Oh, that's just ignore them. Okay. With the Hispanics, they don't have to, they're not programmed to be subtle with their anti-blackness. They're not. Because most of them, let's be honest, come from countries, Mexico, a lot of Latin countries, they come from countries where it's completely fine to be hateful to black people. It's completely fine to discriminate against black people. It's completely fine to be racist against black people. Which is why you see so much mistreatment, discrimination, prejudice, racism, colorism, and all of these Latin countries. It's completely fine. And these Latin countries, also, if you go to India, the caste system in India is outrageous. Okay, you go to some countries in Asia, They don't even like the darker skinned Asian people. They exist. They won't let you know that, but they do exist. They don't like them. They don't. They don't like these people. All right. So they're not socialized to keep things subtle like that. That's why you see a lot of the Europeans, they have a more calm demeanor, or they have a more passive aggressive demeanor as far as racism. Not that they're less, but they showcase their racism in a different form. They don't have to showcase their racism like they used to in like the 1940s, 1930s, 1950s, and the early 1900s. They don't have to do that no more. They don't have to go around calling black people the N-word. They know it's off code to do that now. Okay? They showcase their racism through economic exclusion. They showcase their racism through legislative power. They showcase their racism through police brutality. See, these other groups of people, they can't really Indians can't showcase their racism through economic exclusion because they don't run anything in America. There are some who have nice jobs and tech and all that, but they don't run anything in America, not to the point where they can exclude black people from. The Asians don't run anything in America, not to the point where they can exclude or even hinder black people from that. So they have to showcase their hatred against black people in a different form. So it's a lot of different reasons. All right. So they showcase their racism and their hatred because they don't really have power against black people. The Europeans is like, which is not how they see it. I'm not talking about the reality, but how they see it. It's like black people are like children. Okay, even Dr. Francis, where I have the books in the other room. Dr. Francis Cress Wilson talks about this. They view it as the Europeans. They view it as a parent and a child relationship now, where the parent has ultimate authority over the child. The parent has ultimate say so. Okay, the child doesn't get to eat what the parent gets to eat. The child, there's a hierarchy. I'm the master, you're the slave. That's the hierarchy. That's the way it's supposed to be. Okay. And with that, they don't even need to hate you. This is why I want a lot of people to understand what white supremacy is. It's not even about hate. It's about power, racial power. That's all it is. That's the core of it. A racial hierarchy. That's the core. And then hate is of course included, but it's not based off of hate. Hate is not the basis of it. Racial power is the basis of it. Now, there's a lot of hate that fuels it, but it's not the foundation of it. Racial power is the foundation of it. All right. So we have to understand that. And the reason why we have to understand that is because a lot of people will get confused when they see a white person who doesn't hate black people. They'll get confused and they'll be all like, well, hold on, he has black friends. And then the white are like, I have black friends, man. I have a lot of black friends. My black friend in high school, he was a black. So what are you talking about? How can I be racist, man? That doesn't even make sense. I just got done listening to Michael Jackson. I love him. He's black too. So come on, man. I'm not racist. No, it's not, because it's not about hate. You can love black people and still be racist. Do you guys understand that? So this is how the European is seeing this. The European is seeing this like child, black, and this is not the case at all, but this is how they process it. Child, black, adult, white, parent, white. That's how they see it. So you don't have to hate it, but as long as the racial hierarchy stays in place and I'm the parent and you're the child, we're cool. That's how most of them operate today anyway. Now, that's different for the non-black minority. That's a lot different from them because they don't have the parental authority and power. They don't have racial power against black people. They don't. Now, yeah, do you have like the Peter Liangs or the George Zimmermans who get away with that stuff by the dominant society? Yeah, you do. So to some degree, it is a privilege, but it's almost like if this was a family, so to speak. Just follow this analogy. Follow me. If it was like a family, you would have a parent and then you have like a very mean and jealous older sibling. okay, and then you have a younger sibling. That's how they have it set up, all right? Or younger sibling or older siblings, because there's still even levels to the racial hierarchy in the buffer classes, all right? Okay, the closer you are to black, the lower you are in these levels. So they can kind of get away with doing stuff to the younger siblings, but they don't have the authority of the parent. So the parent doesn't need to feel as insecure about their authority or their place in a racial pecking order, because nobody's above them. That's how the Europeans are looking at it. But these other non-black groups of people, they have to complete for their place in the racial pecking order, because they don't, number one, want to be in the same boat as the black people. So they want to make sure that it's a difference. We don't like them Negroes, just like you don't like them Negroes. I'm on your team. It's a difference. So they always want to make it seem like, hey, I'm on the team with them. I'm on the team with you guys, you Europeans, you white folk. I'm on your team. I identify with you. That's how they look at it. All right. And then a lot of that is because of the fact that they deal with oppression. And they deal, because that's true, they deal with oppression, they deal with subjugation from European powers, but they don't fight against it like we do. So a lot of that is really jealousy as well too. A lot of these non-black ethnic groups of people are very jealous of foundational black Americans. So it's not like I'm saying, it's a lot of different reasons, but it's really the reason of jealousy. It's a lot of that is them showcasing their insecurity, and a lot of that is because too often we have seen their oppression as an extension of oppression in general. Follow me with this, y'all. Follow me. We have seen their oppression and subjugation as oppression in general. And we wanted to stop oppression in general. This is what Dr. King was talking about. This is what Malcolm X was talking about. This is what the Black Panthers were talking about. We want to end discrimination and inequality in general. So we have been fighting and putting our lives and safety on the line for all of these other groups of people. And all of these other groups of people have really become entitled to what we have won. They've become entitled to our fight. They've become entitled to our assistance and aid. Okay? That's like that one sibling who always got money. And every time you're short, every time you need some help, every time you're down, you just call that one sibling and you got it. They're right there for you. Every time y'all go out, every time y'all do something, they always paying for you. And all of a sudden, it just stopped. So if you grew up and you spent all this time and they've been just giving you anything and everything they have, they get paid, you get paid. You need something, they got it. Okay? They've been doing things, sacrificing themselves, not even for our benefit, but just for your benefit. You've become entitled to that. And then all of a sudden, because now we have a delineation movement going on, and now we're focusing on our lineage, it just stopped. It just stopped. It's just gone. So before, they were looking at black people, and we were essentially the saviors of the world. And then all of a sudden, we just said, hey, we ain't doing that no more. And because, like I said, they're jealous because they understand and they know it. They know it. They know we do things that they can't do. They know that. And it just stopped. So now you're seeing a whole bunch of people trying to get that back. You're seeing a lot of people trying to get that back. Like, no, we were together. You need us. That's why a lot of them are, you need us. Now, let me show you this clip. Let me show you this clip right here. Boy. Hold on. Remember?
I'm amazed of how many people from the black community are telling me to go back to Mexico, telling Mexicans to go back to Mexico because we're illegal and it's a crime. It was also a crime when your ancestors went to Mexico, when they were escaping the white people and Mexico helped them. A lot of Mexicans got killed for that. They helped them. They help your people. We didn't oppress you guys. And this is how you guys pay us In the past, black people needed Mexicans. Right now, Mexicans need you guys. And in the future, you never know, because things change. Sometimes maybe the white people are gonna need us. Maybe the black people are gonna need us. You don't know, because God give us things, give us blessings, but he can take them away so fast.
This is why they're like that. This is why they're pulling the whole, well, hold on, we were all here together. You guys need us too, because we don't. And we're starting to realize that. We're starting to realize, first off, y'all not going to be on our team. We don't need you guys. We better off by ourselves. We're better off by ourselves. Oh, we cool. We gonna do us, you do you guys. And now they're all like, hold on, no, you guys owe us. That's kind of the talking point now. You guys owe us. And then when we tell them no, when we say, you know what, nah, we kind of cool. We don't need y'all help. We not helping y'all. Okay. It's like I said, it's like that broke friend. It's not even like a friend that you just known from like high school, you known from middle school even, and y'all known each other for a long time, and you kind of felt sorry. And that's the thing with black, what we got to get over, and because we make mistakes sometimes too. What we have to get over is feeling sorry for everybody. We do that a lot, and we got to stop that. Well, you know that friend in middle school, and he always had janky clothes, and he smelled a little bad all the time. He never had enough money for lunch or anything like that, and you know and we just kind of felt sorry for him. His book bag was a hand-me-down from Goodwill. We just kind of felt sorry for him. You know what I'm saying? And then, we would help him out. We would bring some of our old clothes to him, and we'd help him out with lunch. We'd give him our little animal crackers and our juice boxes and stuff like that, because he would just be sitting up there hungry. All of these other groups of people, because they can't fight for themselves. They can't provide for themselves. They can't do for themselves. Otherwise, they would be back in their own home country. Otherwise, they'd be there. But they're not there. They're here. So, we had a feeling kind of sorry for him. We would be all like, you know what? Let me help you. Here's a juice box. Here's some animal crackers. Here's a little Oreo cookie. I got my old book bag. You can have my old book bag. When they would come in and they would wear like 5-6 shirts because they don't have a coat, I got a coat for you. I got all this stuff. And that just years and years and years of us just helping out these other groups of people because we just felt sorry for them. They've grown entitled to that. They've grown not just dependent, but entitled to that. All of these groups of people have. Okay? Everybody, like I said earlier in the live stream, we've been doing that for all of these other groups of people. And it's never been reciprocated. Just keep that in mind. Never once been reciprocated. All right? So with that being said, we all like, you know what, it is what it. We're gonna kind of stop that. And when we stop it, they get upset. Imagine that. And then in high school, college, and then after that, we were like, you know what, I'm not gonna help you out no more. It's about time for us to focus on ourselves. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna focus on ourselves. Okay. And when we do that, oh, they get upset. They get upset. Look at this. Remember this? When we said we're not going to help with the mass deportations and everything? Remember this guy?
I've seen a lot of videos of black people making fun of Mexicans for what's happening right now with Mexican people. I have also seen black people make videos talking about Mexicans. Don't come to us for help because we're not helping. First of all, Mexicans are not alone. They have Honduran people. They have Salvadorian people. They have Guatemalan people. They have Nicaraguan people.
Broke. That's like you asking your friend for a loan, and then you say, you know what, I'm not gonna give it to you. I'm not gonna give it. Oh, I don't need your money. I got Salvadorian people. I got Nicaraguan people. I got all of these people. All of y'all broke. You got a lot of broke friends. I'm the only one with some money. Y'all got the broke friends. Now, come on now. Y'all broke. I don't need your money. I got other broke friends. You ain't going to get nothing from them because if you would, you could. You wouldn't even be over here if you could get something from them. This man bragging about his broke friends. Y'all all broke together, I guess.
us for help because we're not helping. First of all, Mexicans are not alone. They have Honduran people, they have Salvadorian people, they have Guatemalan people, they have Nicaraguan people, and a whole bunch of other countries that are willing to join forces with the Mexican people. Black people, what makes you think that Mexicans are going to come running to y'all for help?
Because you always have. Now, what makes you think that Mexicans are going to come run to us for help? I don't know, because y'all asking.
Always been like this, and we should continue staying like
this is kind of why we think that, because
There's
y'all
no reason
saying
why the two communities should be fighting.
Because y'all keep sitting up there lying about history, trying to make it seem like we've always been together. So this kind of why we think y'all run to us for help, because you guys do.
What for? Y'all black people can't even help yourselves. That's wild. Mexican people are hardworking people. Mexican people stick together. They make it work. That's the total opposite of a black person. You want to call me racist? Go right ahead. I'm just keeping it real. Like I said, Mexican people are not alone. They have all of us. What makes you think that a Mexican will say, oh, okay, well, we have the...
And something else I want to say, it's always very interesting when these other groups of people don't mind being called racist. Anytime they say that, I want you guys to understand they're confessing to the fact that what they're saying is racist. All right? Because if what they believed they're saying was not racist, they would be all like, no, what I'm saying isn't racist at all. But for the fact that he's sitting up there like, if you want to call me racist, go right ahead. So you don't have a problem with being called racist? That doesn't bother you for people to associate you with racism? Notice when they say that, they're pretty much saying, yeah, it is racist. You can call it out. I'm not going to apologize for it. That's why they're saying it, because normal people who are not racist have an issue when you call them racist. They don't like being no non-racist person has a wants to be called racist. So if somebody gets out there and says, hey, if you want to call me racist, go right ahead. That's because they're racist. That's because they're racist.
Blacks, let's go to them. Come on now. Y'all don't even trust each other. What makes you think that a Mexican will trust you if you don't even trust your brother? Get your popcorn ready and watch how Mexicans make this work.
Okay. Okay, all right. And our popcorn has gone stale because we ain't been seeing Mexicans make nothing work. We ain't seen y'all make nothing work at all. But this is the anti-blackness that exists within the Hispanic community. This is the anti-blackness that exists within the Hispanic community. The second we don't provide for them, the second we don't look out for them, all of a sudden you see the disdain that they have for us. I want you guys to understand, going back to some of these other stories that I was talking about earlier. Let me see. Not this one. Not this one. Going back to, for instance, this story right here. This is the one that stood out to me. I'm going to get to y'all super chats and y'all cash apps in just a second. The Latino gang member firebombed black residents to drive them out of Bull Heights project. They want things to themselves so badly that they are willing to remove us physically from that, just like white supremacists do. Just like white supremacists do. All right? These people are not any separate from their ancestors who fought for the Confederacy. They're not. So when they tell us that we need to watch how they get stuff done and they gonna get it done and we gonna sit up there and be jealous of their unity and all that stuff, just understand this is where they're coming from. This is how they think. This is how they think. And the second we say no, they get to attacking us. The second we say no, they get to going on anti-black. They let their anti-blackness just leach out. Anytime there's something that they can benefit from, we can benefit from them and all that stuff, then it's black and brown together. Or when they need our help, it's black and brown together. But when they don't need our help, Lord have mercy. When they don't need our help, or when they tell us no, then all of a sudden you're seeing a bunch of anti-blackness coming out of the Hispanic community. Now, if black people and Hispanics were working together so closely during the civil rights movement, can somebody explain this to me? This is recently, okay, it says a large male white Hispanic student knocks down a small black female middle school student, slamming her head on the table. It says incident occurred at June Middle School in Raleigh, California on March. This happened very recently. This is the Black and Brown Coalition. I'm only going to show like a couple of seconds because YouTube is very, very particular when you get into any type of violence against a child. But look how big this dude is in comparison to all of them. Hold on, let me see. I want to show from the beginning of the clip. I just saw this recently. Where is the clip? Come on, play. Okay. Now you can see, I want you to see how much larger he is than her. Okay. And first, it was really two Hispanic men. The really big one, he's the one who's mainly attacking, but it was kind of both. And a whole classroom of Hispanics are just sitting up there watching, just sitting up there looking and laughing, recording and everything. A whole lot of them are. Hydro class is crazy work, man. I want you to just have a visual, and I keep pausing it because I don't want it to be like cut off or anything like that. Just have a visual of how much bigger he is than her. This man, I don't know how tall he is or how short she is, but you can clearly see he is a lot. First off, he's a male and she's a female. And you can clearly see that he's a lot bigger than her. Oh, no. Okay, then he's gonna slam her head on the table. I don't even want to show that. I don't even want to show that part. But after that, he slams her head on the table, knocking her out. Yeah, let me not even, I don't even want to show that part. But and I want you guys to understand, with this attack, with the attack on the other young black girl, with the Hispanic gangs just attacking black people all the time, and I've gave you guys story after story after story after story after story, year after year after year after year. So it's not just one year where there's a lot of racial tension going on between the Hispanic and the black community. It's just this continuous thing, this decade-long thing of particular Hispanics hating on black people, attacking black people, terrorizing black people, men, women, and children. So you can miss me. You can miss me with some black and brown unity. You really can. His name needs to be out, and that person needs to be charged with a hate crime. And see, the thing is that situation like that, they don't get charged with a hate crime. That doesn't even get considered a hate crime. What's going to happen is it's going to be like, yeah, he has some anger issue. He was a bully or whatever, but we don't think it has anything to do with her being the only black person in the room getting beat up on and everybody just watching and laughing. We don't think it has anything to do with that at all. That's what they'll say. Let me get to some of the super chats real quick. Oracle Queen, shout out to Oracle Queen, says, just like a leech sucking the life and energy. Yeah. That's 100% true. Tell it like it is. Says, then they came down to standing up for them. I'm a damn sure be lazy. Yeah, when it comes down to standing up, yeah, we're gonna be lazy when it comes to standing up. If we lazy when it comes to getting our money, we lazy when it comes to standing up for them. It says, he continues to say, I'm talking straight couch potato mode. Straight couch potato. I like that. Straight couch potato mode. As far as standing up for them, we ain't gonna do that no more. We lazy. Remember? We're lazy. He also continues to say, tell it like it is, since another super chat says, she's right. We are their blessing, and they abused it just like everyone else. That's true. Now they're at blessing. Now they at blessing has been taken away. Now that they blessing been taken away, shop closed indefinitely. All of that. Shout out to Tell It Like It Is. That's our brother from California. So he absolutely knows all of that. Us working with these people, us fighting on behalf of the good fight and stuff. That's over with. That's done. That's done. Yeah, that's over with. We ain't gonna do that no more. That's just we just not gonna do that no more. That's just over. Okay. When we see attacks like this on black children, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys see this type of attack from black people on other groups of people? Do you see black people? And I'm not even just talking about Hispanics, but I'm talking about any non-black group of people. Do you see this stuff happening? Where the black person is where like a Hispanic is the only one in a classroom full of black people, and there's this big black male attacking a small Hispanic female, and everybody around is just laughing. Have you guys ever seen that? Have you guys ever seen two black women just walking around and they see a little 11-year-old Hispanic girl and then start stumping on her dog and then start hitting her in the head with a bottle and punching her in the nose? Not only have you seen that, have you ever heard of a story remotely close to that? No, you haven't, because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And we know it doesn't exist because we know we don't do that to other groups of people. Have you heard of a story where black people, black gangs, even if they're gangs, have you heard of a story where black gangs are fire bombing Hispanic neighborhoods, just innocent Hispanic families, or any non-black families, or any families in general, because we want to run them out the neighborhood? Have you heard of that? No. And you won't hear of that because we don't do that. Even our gang members don't do that. You never heard of that at all. But yet they do it to us time and time again. That's why I pulled up so many stories, and I wanted to pull up different stories from different dates to let you know how consistent this anti-blackness has been from the Hispanic community. Because they'll say, well, yeah, there was this one time. I guess we can all say it's one time. No, it's not been just one time. This is time after time after time after time. This has been our relationship with the Hispanic community for decades. That's why I brought up all these stories for this long period of time, to show you in 2007, 2009, 2011, 2016, 2014, 2020, 2022, all of these, and every year in between, or at least the times they report on it. And even today, that clip came out in 2025, the one I just showed you. That came out in 2025. That was 3 days ago. And then we're talking about anti-blackness since the time of the Civil War. Okay? Since the time of the Civil War, since the time where they've been trying to identify as white in the U.S. Census to the present day, it's been a consistent hatred of black people and of blackness from the Hispanic community, which is why most of them identify as white. Most of them identify and resonate with their Hispanic heritage, their Spanish heritage, this heritage from Spain. Most of them do. And they do it on the census too, even though they have a choice nowadays not to do that. So this is the reality of the situation. So we're not going to allow revisionists to come up here and be all like, hey, we black and brown, we've been all in the same boat the whole time. We've been in the same boat. No, we have not been. Y'all have been one of the main or direct, I will say, direct people who have been oppressing us. Y'all are like the soldiers, the evil little knights and soldiers and henchmen. You know how in the cartoons where you see the super, or in a video game, you know, when you fighting a boss in a video game, in order to fight the big boss, you got to fight all of the little henchmen. These are the little henchmen. You guys might not be the big boss, but y'all the little henchmen. And yeah, just because the boss slaps you around nowadays, you know how in the cartoons where the boss, they can't complete the mission or whatever the case is, and then the big boss starts beating up the henchmen a little bit to get them in line. Yeah, okay, y'all get beat up, but y'all getting beat up because y'all attacking us. Y'all get beat up, y'all stand up, and then y'all turn to the nearest black child and attack the black child. So no, we don't have no sympathy. No, we don't have no empathy. No, we're not going to sit up here and relate to y'all. No, absolutely not. This is what you guys have been doing for decades. Since black people and Hispanic people been in the same country at the same time, this is what y'all been on. Okay? And y'all are on this in Mexico as well too. Y'all on this in these Latin countries as well too. Okay? We can really go into the history of that. So yes, that's what they identify as. This is what they're on, and we're not going to allow revisionist history to infiltrate and make black people think like, man, maybe there was a black and brown coalition. No, there not. No, there has not been, and no, there will not be, because this is who they are. And I want you, the clip I just showed you, how many Mexican protesters do you think that do you think that this lady right here, you think that this lady right here is going to say anything about that Mexican dude who just beat up that little black girl? You think she's going to say anything? Do you think she's going to say anything? Do you think he's going to say anything?
We used to get hung on trees.
Yep.
No. None of them are going to call their people out. None of them are going to say anything. But they'll sit up here in front of a camera and tell you about the history of black and brown struggle, the history of black and brown solidarity. That's what they'll do. Get into some of the super chats real quick. Shout out to my brother Cyberdyne. He says, always happy to support, and I greatly appreciate your support, my brother. I truly, truly do. And then my brother Hurricane says, brush up your power tools and stay ready. We're going to have to. And we're going to have to stay ready for multiple groups of people. Okay? And it's a sick thing. It's really sad, but it's true. And we got to tell the truth about this. When these groups of people get attacked, their response is not to attack the racial hierarchy. Their response is not to attack white supremacy. Their response is to attack black people, just to reinforce to the racial power structure that, hey, I'm on the team. I'm one of you guys. I'm one of you guys. I'm on the team. Don't do me like this. Come on, I hate these blacks too. Look at this little black kid. Look, and then start stomping down. Look at this little black kid. Look at him. I'm hitting the sea. I hate these blacks just like you guys. I'm really white too. That's what they do every time. When they face a little bit of hardship, what they do is they try to reinforce their position in the racial hierarchy. None of these groups of people have a history of trying to take down the system of white supremacy, trying to dismantle this racial hierarchy. They don't. They just try to reinforce their position in the racial power structure. Okay? And that's the truth. Shout out to LF, our sister LF, in the chat room for the Cash App. I appreciate you. Thank you so very much. That's the truth. And we're not going to allow revisionist history to lie. We're not going to allow them to lie. We are all we have. And when we understand this, and we understand that all of these other groups of people, they just want to abuse us and use us. And anytime it's beneficial to them, they try to play this black and brown coalition, this black and brown unity, this black and brown solidarity game. But then when it's not, they right back to abusing us. They right back to kicking us down. They right back to beating us up. They right back to firebombing our neighborhoods. They right back to abusing the children. They right back to it. And then the second a threat of deportation comes, it's all like, hold on. Now, black and brown, we've always been together. We've always been together. We fought together during the civil rights. My grandpa, did I tell you my grandpa was best friends with Dr. King? Yeah. My best friend, he was best friends with Dr. King, and we marched together. And he got it. Now, I mean, what was his name? Oh, don't worry about his name. Don't worry about that. But my grandpa saved Dr. King's life several times. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's not in history or anything like that. So don't even bother looking it up. But my Hispanic grandpa did that all the time. Let them tell it. They'll tell you that. They will tell you that. Okay. Let them, if you y'all come on, if you let them tell you that, then what they'll say is be all like, you know what? To be honest, Harriet Tubman and my abuela, they were together during the Underground Railroads. Because you see, there were some Underground Railroads that went into Mexico, and my abuela, because she just loved the blacks, so she came with Harriet Tubman, and she was really the one in charge of it the whole time. Really, Harriet gets all the credit. She doesn't deserve it. It was really my abuela, but she did that, and it was Harriet who learned from us. So we owe reparations. If we let them tell it, they'll change up everything. Then Harriet Tubman, then all of a sudden she knew Spanish. She got, they'll say Harriet Tubman was Spanish. They'll be all like, did you guys know that Nat Turner was half Hispanic? Nat Turner was half Hispanic. The Turner, don't that sound like a Hispanic? The Turner, you got to say with the R, the R. See, he was half Hispanic. Nat Turner was half Hispanic. Okay, let them tell it. They will change the whole thing. Okay, then they'll go back to say, well, we were really the original slaves, and then there were some black people who came way later. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Let them tell it. They were the ones who did that. Just like how Fat Joe was sitting up there talking about that they are the ones who invented hip hop. Hip hop really came from Mexico. All of this stuff, really. Let them tell it. They'll remix the whole thing. Okay. It'll be the Hispanic community was out there bodyguarding Dr. King. Harriet Tubman was led really by some abuela or something like that. All of our history is going to be Latin. We're just going to have a whole Latin history. Okay. Let them tell it. Okay. Frederick Douglass learned how to read from a Mexican man. Let them tell it. They're going to remix the whole thing. Nat Turner was half Hispanic. They're going to remix the entire thing if we let them get away with anything. And we just can't do that. We can't. We can't afford to do that. I'm not going to allow it. Okay. Shout out to YGLTB1. He says, the so-called Black and Brown Coalition played out in a movie called, quote, Blood in and Blood Out. Blood in and Blood Out. I got to see that movie. And a temporary unification to take out a common enemy until the end, and afterwards the brown stabbed our people in the black back, literally. Let's not forget that. I'm gonna have to check that movie out. And shout out to your super chat. I greatly appreciate your super chat. But that's literally how it is. They only team up with us, not when it's convenient for us, not when we need assistance, not when we need some support. Because remember, anytime when we're trying to get what we try to get, they're trying to stop
it. Reparations for whoever's over there. I'm sure they'll try to do something out here in California. I think they already actually got a little board going that they're going to start looking into it. So
yeah, and that's when we, the raza, need to step up, protest, and I'm talking major, and turn around and tell them, no, nobody get reparations until the Native Americans and the Mexicans get ours first.
Nobody get reparations until the Native Americans and the Mexicans get ours first. They didn't have that energy when the Japanese people got reparations. The Native Americans are still getting reparations. America has still inconsistently been giving reparations to all of these other groups of people. And you didn't see the La Raza, say anything about that. But all of a sudden, when the conversation, it's not like they giving reparations, but just the conversation of reparations, slavery reparations, is now being discussed. Now they want to protest. He said protest majorly. Oh no, y'all not getting nothing without us getting something. We be damned. This is what we get when it's time for us to get something that doesn't benefit them. They protest that, they stop that, they block that. But then when they need help, when it's convenient for them, okay, it's black and brown brother and sister together. We're together and we're fighting together. And then at the second us teaming up, a coalition is not beneficial to them, stabbing us in the back. They use us so they can get ahead. And that's all they do. So if ICE is coming and rounding all of them up, you ain't going to see me cry. You ain't going to see me lose no type of sleep about it. I'm not losing any type of sleep about it. Oh, it's all right. Okay. So now remember, before we lose any sleep, remember he said,
I've seen a lot of videos of black.
Hold on. So it's the end. Hold on.
Come on now. Y'all don't even trust each other. What makes you think that a Mexican will trust you if you don't even trust your brother? Get your popcorn ready and watch how Mexicans make this work.
So, okay, that's all we doing. We just getting our popcorn ready and we just watching and waiting to see how Mexicans handle this. So if you guys feel like, oh man, we got to help them and we got to stick together. No, we don't. They told us to leave it alone. He said to leave it alone. He said, get our popcorn ready and watch and see how Mexicans handle this. So guys, I think this time we should listen. We should get our popcorn ready and we should sit down and wait and watch and see how Mexicans handle this situation. That's what we should do. That's what we should do. Shout out to my brother Hurricane. He says, the U.S. government also is part of this revisionist regime, Lord, to erase our history. That's very correct. You're very correct with that. Says we, the collective I'm talking about, must realize that no one will tell and document our history better and more accurately than us. That's true. That's true. And to emphasize that point, the American education system has always downplayed our history anyway. They may mention, and it's really not even in detail, they mention slavery to a degree, like what I told you about the slave masters and white women owning the slaves. That's not what they teach in school. They don't teach you that in school. They'll play like Roots during Black History Month or 12 Years a Slave during Black History Month, and that's it. And they'll be all like, well, I mean, in Rosa Parks, she sat in the front of the bus, and and then Dr. King, he gave a speech, in Washington, and then we shall overcome, and then bam, there we are. And that's it. That's it. So they've always downplayed that. And now with us learning more about our history and culture, now they're really trying to do a lot of revisionist history. Now you got people like DeSantis in Florida talking about slavery was a beneficial thing. There was a good to slavery. And this is something that some of them have alluded to, but now they're really even trying to push that. Well, y'all wasn't really, it was really like labor. It wasn't really like slavery like you guys are seeing it. Or like, what's that one chick? Pearly Things. She was all like, well, slavery's kind of embellished. So now they're going to say, well, all of the movies, that's really dramatized. The slavery wasn't really like that. Most slave owners were really nice people. They were really nice people. And the slaves only got whipped a couple of times when they were acting really, really bad. But yeah, besides that, slaves and slave masters, they were like this. That wasn't a bag. Let them tell it. They will tell that lie. If they will, they're already planting the seeds so they can say slavery was not how we imagined slavery to be. Slavery was not as horrific. Slavery was not as bad. There was only a few bad apples. They already say there was only a few slave owners. Only a few people owned slaves anyway. They're already starting with that. They're already going with that. And then they're going to continue the lie if we allow it, which we're not, which is good. But if we did allow it, they would continue the lie and they would be all like, you know what, slavery, I'm going to be honest, slavery was kind of like, it was just like hard work. That's kind of what it was. It was really hard work, really. That's what they'll say. And all of these other groups of people will back that up. Now, they don't downplay the other groups of people. and their struggle. They don't downplay that. Like they don't downplay the Japanese building the railroads after we did it. Okay. Shout out to Dave. Dave sends a super sticker. Thank you, Dave. And thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for that. Y'all, this is why we got to understand our history. We got to understand that they've never wanted to team up with black people. They've always wanted to separate themselves from black people and from black struggle. They always have. Okay? They've even admitted on several occasions that they are prejudiced against black people. They're the same people who fought to keep slavery. They're the same people, even of today, fight to segregate black people. So no, we're not going to sit up here and allow them to pretend that there's some type of fake black and brown coalition when we know for a fact that there is not, and there has never been. We know that. We know it's not. And we don't need it. Even if they wanted it, to be honest, this is the type of time I'm on. Even if they wanted it, I would reject it. What are y'all going to do for us? Because it seems like a team where we're on the same team would only benefit you guys. What would it do for us? It wouldn't do anything for us because we have been the only people putting points on the board. We're the only people working. We're the only people fighting. We're the only people making any real accomplishments. So even if y'all were genuinely like, hey, come on, let's stick together. Let's work together. No, we cool. Because it seemed like it's like when you have a lot of people on a team and the team is amateuristic, a lot of the players are amateuristic, it's honestly better to have a smaller team of elite people, elite members, elite players than it is to have a large team of people who can't really do anything. Like, why would I want you if I was, you know how they pick the people when you at school and you would pick players for your basketball, the captain would pick the players for the basketball team or whatever, after school, and y'all be in the, in the park or something, and be like, I want him and I want him and I'm gonna have him and him and him. You're picking the best players. Okay. I would rather have a small team of 5 with great players. If I had like great play, my team consists of Michael Jordan, of Kobe Bryant, of the LeBron James, of Stephen Curry, of KD or Kyrie Irving, or somebody that's just great legendary players, I would rather have that than have a team of like 15 and y'all are high school players. If there was only one Michael Jordan and the rest of y'all were players in high school, y'all okay high school players, but y'all not NBA players. Y'all play in your high school or in your backyard. No, let me get the 5 team of elite players, of championship players. All of these people got a championship. Put LeBron, put Steph, put Mike, put Kobe, put all of these people got a championship. And y'all sitting up there, y'all playing for your high school. I'd rather have the championship players. We don't even need all of this extra weight because it seems like we're going to do more for you guys than you guys intend on doing more for us. Because y'all can't pull your own weight, which is why y'all want a team with us in the first place. This is why you want to align yourself with us in the first place, because they can't pull their own weight. Because they be bragging about how we lazy. They be bragging about how we broke. They be bragging about how they're such hard workers. They brag about that all the time. All right. And then the second they need us, they want to team up. No, y'all can't pull your own weight, which is why y'all want to align yourselves. We know it's not because y'all like us. It's not because y'all like us at all. So y'all want to do it because it's advantageous for you guys at this moment. It's convenient for you guys at this moment. That's where you want to do it. But because it's convenient for you, makes it inconvenient for me. And we're just not going to go through these inconveniences. We got enough to deal with already. We have enough to deal with already. Okay, because when we trying to get reparations, y'all protesting that. So we cool. As far as us teaming up with y'all and fighting for y'all, and let's say there was at a point in time some black and brown coalition. That's over with now. Y'all can coalesce with the rest of y'all Hispanic groups of people. Y'all make up a larger percentage, and that's fine. It don't matter, but it's fine. Just like a larger basketball team. Y'all got the larger team by numbers, arguably. Maybe, okay, let's say y'all got the larger team. Yeah, but we got the better team. That's the point. And we need not sully our better team with y'all large team. Because y'all got a large team, but y'all can't make a point. It's 15, 20, 30 of y'all on one team, but y'all can't make a point. Y'all can't pass the ball. Y'all can't dribble the ball. Y'all can't duck the ball. But it's a lot of y'all on the team. What does that mean? Why would we want to team up with y'all? All the people on our team can dribble the ball, dunk the ball, pass the ball, block the ball, shoot the ball. Ain't none of y'all could do that, but we want to team up with y'all. No, we cool. Nah, we good. Hell no. Let me get to some of these other super chats real quick. Shout out to the Queen Nora again, says, all we have is ourselves and the creator. All we need. That's true. We don't need nobody else. It says, we get on code with him. The sooner we get out of our, I gotta turn up. See, I turned the brightness down so that there's a reflection in the glasses. I cannot see that word. I think that's deternominate. I cannot see that word. I'm sorry. 28. Yeah. I can't. I'm sorry. She says, love you, family. I cannot see that. I got to turn my brightness down so the reflection of the laptop doesn't get in the glasses. So there's sometimes it can be hard for me to read. I got to rearrange some of the light. If you guys have noticed, I don't know if y'all noticed, but the lighting is a little bit different. Okay. The lighting is a little bit different. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to arrange it to where I can pull the laptop in a little bit closer. But I can't do that right now because I'm on live. So I'll play with that a little bit later. Shout out to Kathy for the super chat. Thank you, Kathy, for the super chat. I appreciate you, my sister. And tell it like it is again. He says, it says, boy, that couch is, he says, boy, that couch is about to be undefeated. Oh, yeah. We ain't getting off. We are glued to the couch. Our seats, our backs are glued to the couch. We are not getting off that couch at all. Let me see. It says, she's talking about I know what I can't. Okay. What word is she saying? Hold on for a second. Because I think I know, but I don't want to know. Let me see. Hold on. That's it. I think I know, but I don't want to know, but I can't see. Hold on. I got to pull the laptop a little bit closer. Hold on for a second. And actually, what I can do is I can actually make this bigger. I can just make it bigger. Oh, wow. Not that big. I can make it bigger. So, that's a lot better. I just zoomed in so I can actually see it. Like make the words bigger so I can actually see it. Okay. Okay, so she says, dear Ternomini, if that's how it's pronounced. 28. Okay, so that is that is a word like in religious books like the Bible and all that. Okay. Yeah, y'all know I don't really wear glasses like that. I don't really wear it, so I'm wearing it now. So I had to move the laptop back so the reflection doesn't get in the way. But here I am, just figured it out, okay? I could just actually make the screen larger. I can just zoom into the screen instead of like actually bringing the laptop all up in my face. Okay. That's not how, let me see. Lord have mercy. Hold on. That's not how it is. So, hold on for 1 second. What the hell is this word? Hold on for 1 second, y'all. Hold on for 1 second. Let me see. Okay, I mispronounced the word. Hold on. I cannot. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me just adjust the screen a little bit. I pronounced the word. Okay. Okay, so anyway, let me just read the whole thing again. Lord have mercy. This is not going to be an ongoing issue. She says the whole thing. All we have is ourselves and the Creator. All we need. We can get on code with Him sooner. The sooner we get out of Deuteronomy 28. Okay. I think that's a biblical book. Okay. Okay. And then she says, love y'all. Love you too. Hold on. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me see something real fast. Let me see something real quickly. Okay. Oh, no. Let me not do that. All right. Then we get to tell like it is. Oh, no, he already said something. Then we get to Nevada has a Hispanic man leading the reparations conversation. Huh. Okay. I'm gonna have to look into that. I didn't know that. And then it says, how do we deal with that? Well, the thing is he like a black Hispanic? Because they'll use the black Hispanics. Let me see. Yeah, it says that's right. Okay, I'm right about that. Lord, my pronunciation is something else. You're good. Just get past this end of the day right now. Okay, so we got a Hispanic leading. Sounded out like that. Lord have mercy. We got a Hispanic leading the black. Okay, let's stop focusing on the word, y'all. Let's not focus on the word anymore. Let's focus on the fact that Nevada has a black Hispanic man, and this is probably a white Hispanic, right? It says no, his name, he's not a white Hispanic, or he's not a black Hispanic. Okay, he's not a black Hispanic. He's a white Hispanic. Okay, and his name. Now I can't. Hold on. What the fuck? Did I just freeze? Did I just freeze? I think I just froze. Am I good? Did I just freeze? Okay. Can you guys see? If you guys can see me now, y'all let me know. If y'all can see me now. What's going on? Okay. Okay, I'm good now. Let me see something for a second. My glasses are getting kind of foggy. Okay, I'm good now. Anyway, so back to what we were saying before. If you have a Hispanic on the whole reparations conversation, the Hispanic is going to sabotage that. The Hispanic is going to mess that up. The Hispanic is literally going to do the same way they do right here, the same way Nora Martinez does, the same way all of these other communities do. They sit up there and sabotage anytime they get in front of anything. Okay. Remember, the Hispanic man was up there saying in that podcast that they need to protest reparations. They need to protest reparations. All right. So yeah, letting any of these Hispanics get in front of our reparations thing, they're gonna say, well, I mean, they can get it if we can get it. If we can get it, then yeah, we want reparations. Hold on, did I freeze again? What the hell? Am I? Oh my God, what is going on? Hold on. Oh my God. What is going on? Okay, I just okay. If you guys can hear me, y'all let me know because okay. Am I here? Do you guys see me? Hold on. What is going on? Okay, you guys can hear me, but you guys can't see. I'm trying to get this off the screen. But we having some serious, let me put this back because when this was back to that, it was fine. It wasn't until I started moving. And when I started moving stuff around, stuff got okay. Okay, hold on. Okay. Am I good now? I literally the thing just literally reset. It kicked me out the room and I had to come back. So I'm straight now, right? I'm good. Am I? If I'm good, let me know. All right. Okay, you guys are saying I'm okay. Okay, we back. It literally just it froze twice. It froze a couple times. All right. But we good. Okay, so let me just be quick with this then. Let me be quick with this. Okay. Okay. Oh, Bell says correction, he's from India. He's an Indian. Okay, he's an Indian talking about reparations in California. I'm gonna definitely have to look at that. And then YGLTB1 says the League of the United Latin American Citizens, which is LULAC, classifies as white on the U.S. Census, arguing that Mexican Americans were a part of the white race and should not be considered separately. So, where's the brown? Yeah, they're only brown when it's convenient for them to be brown. They're only brown when it's convenient. Of all the other times, they're white, and they're not just white because they identify as white. Because with the argument they'll use nowadays, they'll use Mexican is not its own race on the census nowadays. Mexican's not its own race on the census nowadays because you guys fought to take racism off the census. Not racism. You guys fought to take Mexican off the census. They fought in protest. Their organizations and their government fought in protest for Mexican to be taken off as a racial category of the census. So that's why there's white. Now there is other. A lot of them can identify as other. They don't. They identify as white because they want to be white. All right. A lot of these other groups of people want to be white. So what they'll do nowadays, and they'll be all like, well, I mean, I'm not black, so I gotta identify as white. They do that. That's why they do that. All right. And why the hell does an Indian person have anything to do or anything to say about our reparations claim? What the hell is that about? Court Cool Band says, B1 brother Afro. May the ancestors continue to bless you. Thank you so very much, brother. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate your kind words. Thank you very much. Got a lot of likes, but I don't know what's going on with the laptop thing going on right now. So I'm going to try to end this on a good note before we freeze up again. I'm going to try to end this on a good note, and there's some things I got to do anyway as well too. So you guys make sure you guys follow me on my social media accounts. That is Afro Elite on Instagram, and then the Afro Elite on YouTube. Of course, it's Afro Elite on YouTube because you're on YouTube right now. I meant it's Afro Elite on Instagram and the Afro Elite on Twitter. All right. But speaking of YouTube, y'all make sure that you guys hit that like button. Y'all make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, and y'all make sure that you guys hit that notification button. All right. So you guys don't miss out on anything, because we still got a lot of stuff coming up. There was something that I got coming up next week that I definitely want all of you guys here for, because I got a big call to action next week. Monday is a big call to action that I'm setting up for you guys. So I need everybody here to be present Monday evening, same time. All right. But to end this on a good note, I definitely want to get off here before we have any more janky technical issues. So thank you guys for that. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Shout out to all of the people watching live, the people watching on the playback, and the people watching on the TVs, on our phones, on all that stuff. Shout out to all the Cash Apps. Shout out to all the Super Chats. All right. And with that being said, Black first, my brothers and my sisters, be one to every single last one of you all. Of course, you all have a good one, and y'all stay blessed.